pray. Almighty God, who in your wisdom and godliness has appointed the offices of the leaders and parliaments for the welfare of the society and the just government of the people, we beseech you to be with your favor as a servant whom you have been pleased to call to the performance of important trust in this republic. Let your blessing descend upon us here assembled. Grant that we treat and consider all matters that shall come at liberation in so just and faithful manners to promote your honor and glory and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our county and of those whose interests you are committed to our church. Amen. Order.
Order number 1, administration of court.
Next order.
Order number 2, communication from the chair.
Honorable members, I have a communication to make. The communication is re-election petition number E001 2022 MS Abdi Fatuma Abdullahi vs United Democratic Alliance Kelvin Guru and Independent Electoral Boundaries Commission IEBC. Honorable members, a judgment was entered by the Magistrate of Court of Isiolo in 17 January 2023 and subsequent court degree copies annexed. This is the annex that I relating to the petition challenging the nomination of the second respondent as the representative of the minority group in the County Assembly of Isiolo. The petition was commenced on 22nd of September 2022 by the petitioner. The substantive question considered by the court and judgment upon were whether the second respondent Kelvin Guru qualified to be nominated as the member of the county assembly, and whether nomination of second respondent as the representative of minority community in Isiolo County Assembly was procedural and lawful. Finding of the court that the nomination of second respondent as a member of Isiolo County Assembly representing minority is null and void. That the gazettement of Kelvin Guru as a nominated member of County Assembly of Isiolo and a category of special seats, a representative of minority community with the Kenya Gazette Notice number 1712 of 9th September 2022 is nullified. And that since the party list submitted to the IBC under Section 34(10) of Election Act not to be amended during the term of the Parliament, the courts certified and ordered IBC to relocate the representative of the minority community seat to Abdi Fatuma Abdullahi, the petitioner herein, and the second candidate, Isiolo County registered voter in the list from which Kelvin Guru was gazetted in accordance with the provision of Section 37 of Election Act. Further, the County Assembly of Isiolo subsequently received a court degree 19th January 2023 seeking enforcement of its ruling. We are thus guided that the ruling has effectively nullified the position of Honorable Guru as the representative of the minority in the County Assembly of Isiolo from the effective date of the ruling. Honorable Kelvin, that Honorable Kelvin Weriguru will not be able to transact and or act in the position in the County Assembly of Isiolo, and thus may be considered a stranger in any conduct of house business by the dance of his ruling. That the position of the minority representative is now effectively vacated pending settlement by IBC and or further orders from the court reinstating Kelvin Weriguru. That Kelvin Weriguru ceased to be a member of the County Assembly of Isiolo on the date this declaration, and shall remain so unless their order in force is vacated or otherwise determined by an appellate court. That no order from the appellate court vacating the order in force has been served on the County Assembly today. Thus, the County Assembly is duty bound to enforce the order in force. Honorable members, the Assembly stand guided accordingly. Thank you. Next order.
Order number 3, messages.
Next order.
Order number 4, petitions.
Next order.
Order number 5, papers.
Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion. Notice of motion, prompt release of sufficient bursary fund for Isiolo County by the Honorable Francisco Letima Lohat.
Next order.
Order number 7, statements.
Next order.
Order number 8, motion, increasing insecurity incidences within Isiolo County by the Honorable Nicholas LOROT et al. Order.
Mr. Speaker, sir, Honorable Nicholas actually is on apology. He went on an official assignment to Nairobi. I stand in, Mr. Speaker, to move this motion on the increasing insecurity incidents within Isiolo County. That aware that Article 26 of the Constitution of Kenya declares that every person has right to life. Further aware that Article 40 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010 declares that every person has the right to property, either individually or in accordance with others. Noting that insecurity and intercommunity clashes in some part of our county has led to loss of lives, properties, and made residents flee their homes. Concerned that those institutions responsible to deal with these persistent skirmishes are dragging its feet in ending insecurity in the area. Recognizing that the enhancement of security and the protection of private and public property are among the guiding principles towards a developed county. This House urges the county government leadership, in liaison with the national government agencies responsible for security function, to establish urgent and appropriate measures in order to maintain peace in the affected region of the county. Mr. Speaker, I request for secondment and be able to proceed.
You can proceed and then you can...
Yes, Mr. Speaker, If you look at Isiolo County, geographically located right in the center of, in the heart of this nation, and Mr. Speaker, it is projected to be a commercial city of this nation, and Vision 2030 has put in place big national projects and even regional projects like LAPSET, the Resort City, and many linked projects which is believed to have uplifted the standard of lives of this county, the people of this county, and actually will have a positive impact on the livelihood of the people in the region. Mr. Speaker, what we are seeing about insecurity is very sad. That from the time of independence, Mr. Speaker, we are hearing of Isiolo, which is part of the northern Kenya, as an insecurity no-go zones, always categorized as a dangerous place, hotspots. All those names are being given to this county, being one of it, and the region. Mr. Speaker, the date that we could associate with insecurity in this county and the northern Kenya, Mr. Speaker, in terms of youth, women and children, is really alarming from the time of independence up to today, when Kenya is 60 years old since it got independent. Mr. Speaker, there has been a lot of historical injustices which has been violating the human rights, and all connected to insecurity. Mr. Speaker, there is selective application of enforcement of rule of law in the region, and insecurity was not left out of that. Mr. Speaker, when you see how the government is deploying her security forces, where the government actually put in a lot of budget into the security of provision of security to the citizen, you find it's a big budget is being given and the office of the president. Mr. Speaker, the deployment of the forces in Isiolo County is not in relation to the need of the security by the people of this county. Mr. Speaker, you could hear incidents is happening. One, response is very slow. The security forces have got a duty, Mr. Speaker, to prevent such insecurity to happen. They have got responsibility to prevent the consequences, which is actually death. Mr. Speaker, it is so frustrating that even the incidences, leave about the response, the incidences cannot be taken to a degree it deserves. It cannot be responded to on time. Mr. Speaker, such incidences have never been, the government has never put in an effort to prevent and take action, the legal action required by arresting the perpetrators, those people who have caused loss of lives, loss of children. Mr. Speaker, in this county, most part of this county, Mr. Speaker, that we are bounding with other counties has been abandoned. People have been displaced, Mr. Speaker, along with the few or small strength of the security forces. the government agency vacate those centers, and over so many years school have been left and operational, Mr. Speaker. The national government, Mr. Speaker, has never addressed the plea of this community. Mr. Speaker, recently we have been visited. Desperately we were pursuing the visit of the Cabinet Secretary in charge of internal security. Mr. Speaker, we were blessed, we should say, that he came twice, Mr. Speaker. He came twice, he had us. He had the communities. Mr. Speaker, he gave a lot of promises, and he gave actually a deadline of 14 days that the security forces will be put well forward to those centers which have been abandoned, and also strengthen the police stations and give additional forces of general service units and the stock depth unit forces. Mr. Speaker, the 14 days that the minister gave has not been realized up to today. We have been given weapons to our youth to protect the lives of the communities in form of home guards. Mr. Speaker, this has not been realized as per the promise of the minister. It is a very good idea, Mr. Speaker, to have a homegrown solution to the insecurity, because we are really the people who are affected directly. So to have our youth organized and supplement the government effort is very important. But these promises, Mr. Speaker, in prevention of death of our people which has been there the last 60 years, could have been given a priority, Mr. Speaker. When a budget of this country is being allocated to give the security services, Mr. Speaker, our region is highly given consideration on the paper. But in implementation, Mr. Speaker, it is not happening. This is very sad, Mr. Speaker. We have to take this issue, Mr. Speaker, very seriously. Our people have died in big number, Mr. Speaker. Our people don't have value in this country, Mr. Speaker. This county has got a responsibility to stand up and actually move and demand, because we say in the law of this country, this is our right. Security is our right. Security of our people, security of the property is the right of the Kenyan citizen. Mr. Speaker, we have been denied this right the last 60 years ago. The most affected region, Mr. Speaker, is the pastoralist communities of northern Kenya. This is the time we must stand up and be able to pursue and actually grab the right which belongs to us by constitution, Mr. Speaker. A natural right which God gave us, that we have to survive on this country, on our land, Mr. Speaker. Some of the causes of this insecurity, Mr. Speaker, I could authoritatively say is by design. The boundary issue, Mr. Speaker, is adjusted day by day. Land grabbing, Mr. Speaker, along these corridors bring an influx uncoordinatedly, Mr. Speaker. Some influx from other parts of the counties is actually coming along with a lot of arms, Mr. Speaker. It is a corridor for movement of Al-Shabaab, for the movement of the people armed, because they believe in those guns in order to access our rangeland for water and pasture, Mr. Speaker. The administration is normally compromised because corruption is very rampant, Mr. Speaker, among the administration, who cannot give the national government an accurate information on the need of the community to have security. Mr. Speaker, escort has been abandoned. The neighboring county of Garissa encroached forcefully, Mr. Speaker. The people, they started along with the security forces which are on the strength of Isiolo County. No action has been taken, Mr. Speaker, by the national government to restore the hope of those people who have been displaced, Mr. Speaker. It is very sad. The soldiers which are being deployed is not in need, is not along with the need of the security situation in the area, Mr. Speaker. Very few of them who are actually not even from the area. They have got less information about the threat in that region, Mr. Speaker. So their morale is too low. They are not equipped well, Mr. Speaker. They cannot access the financial services in the region because the area has been deliberately, Mr. Speaker, put out of development for long, as you know, Mr. Speaker. That is why I say some of this problem is by design. The boundary, Mr. Speaker, has got a lot of, what do I say, has a lot of say in the insecurity, Mr. Speaker. Recently, we had a meeting, security meeting, which I represented the governor, our governor. Mr. Speaker, it was a meeting by the regional commissioner of based in Embu, from office of the president, Mr. Speaker. The kind of utterances you could see, you could hear from the political leaders in the neighboring county of Meru, Mr. Speaker, literally saying that they don't want any communities, Mr. Speaker, rather than their community of Meru, in the Meru County, in a disputed boundary area, Mr. Speaker. One speaker after another one mentioning the tribes. We don't want to see Samburu, we don't want to see Boran, we don't want to see Meru, Mr. Speaker. And those agencies, security agencies, because they are biased, they could not be able to stop. I complained to the regional commissioner and to our county commissioner. This utterances is bad. This is not a security meeting. This is inflammatory, Mr. Speaker. They don't respond. They don't stop those careless leaders, Mr. Speaker. What these leaders have done, in 1992, the boundary has been adjusted, Mr. Speaker, in actually taking all our part of our county to the River Waso, the Garmara, to Gotu, and down to Kina, and then some part of this boundary is actually people now encroaching onto Olonyiro, and this is what is happening. It is being done by National Land Commission, Mr. Speaker, when actually Isiolo County has gone to court, and the court by Justice Lenaola, Mr. Speaker, has ruled in favor of Isiolo County that there is a lot of insecurity implication, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, allow me to submit the Justice Lenaola ruling on the boundary issue between Meru and Isiolo, Mr. Speaker. Allow me to submit it at a later stage, Mr. Speaker, but have it on record, that he really stipulated the cause of insecurity is the boundary that Meru County has been interfered with. The successive government, Mr. Speaker, has been in favor of Meru community, and it is on record. That's why I'm saying, and I'm mentioning names here. And the office of the president has been deploying the soldiers along the claimed and disputed boundary, Mr. Speaker, actually as beaconing of the ancestral land of the pastoral communities of Isiolo. Mr. Speaker, this county has been given a role to pursue that boundary dispute and restoration of hope to the communities of Isiolo. If you look at the justice by Justice Lenaola's
Now we are
ruling.
giving you bonus of minutes.
Yes, Mr.
The
Speaker.
time is already up, so we are giving you a
Yes,
bonus
Mr.
of
Speaker.
minutes.
I'm going to, Mr. Speaker. So, security imbalances has been desperate. I mean, deliberately done in this county, Mr. Speaker, and all of it has been linked to the grabbing of land, Mr. Speaker, without recognizing our pastoralism livelihood, Mr. Speaker. So this county, to conclude, Mr. Speaker, has got a lot of role to restore the hope of our people, to be able to address actually the land issue, which is contributing to as a major factor of causing insecurity in this region, Mr. Speaker. We have to operationalize those sub-counties, Mr. Speaker. Olonyiro, Sericho, Cherab, Mr. Speaker, must be operationalized. Put place, first of all, police. fully equipped, Mr. Speaker, supplemented by our home guards, a highly trained home guard, Mr. Speaker. Then we do planning and move our people, settle them, Mr. Speaker, revive the school, put water in place, and that is actually the role of this House, Mr. Speaker. With those few remarks, I beg to move this motion and be seconded, and the House to contribute to this motion, Mr. Speaker. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I second the motion.
So I propose that a wire that Article 26 of the Constitution of Kenya declare that every person has a right to life. Further, wire that the Article 40 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010 declare that every person has the right to property, either individually or in association with others. Noting that insecurity and inter-community clashes in some part of our county has led to loss of lives, properties, and made residents flee their homes. Concerned that those institutions responsible to deal with these persistent skirmishes are dragging its feet in ending insecurity in the area. Recognizing that enhancement of security and the protection of private and public property are among the guiding principles toward a developed county. This House urges the county government leadership in liaison with the national government agencies responsible for security function to establish urgent and appropriate measures in order to maintain peace in the affected regions of the county.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. A motion.
You know, if your phone disturbs us, then you are the one disturbing the whole assembly. So note on that. Continue.
A motion mostly simply to this was here just a few months ago. It is sad, an innocent person, an innocent soul, few months ago, lost day by day. Mr. Speaker, 3 days ago, an old man from my ward, by name called Uyo Mudana, may Allah rest in peace, was brutally murdered by bandit from a neighboring county. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I also rise to support the motion and thank so much our brother, Honorable Gilo, for his elaborate discussion and deep thought on this matter. Honorable Speaker, I happened to be with my father. I brought him yesterday. He's actually with me here in Isiolo, not feeling well. And yesterday when we were looking at the TV, we saw the minister and also the president discussing about this issue of insecurity. I think that some incidents took place in Lodwar, in Turkana, the other day, where I think three security vans were actually burned to ashes, and 4 security officers actually were killed, and 4 other rayas were also killed. 8 years old, and he told me, during colonial period, the colonists actually brought this menace almost to an end. He told me that there was a battalion which was purely for this. But the main concern for that battalion was to ensure that there is plenty of grass.
Order, you are saying for this. What's that? Just put the name. For what? For this. We need to get.
Yeah, I'm saying there was this battalion purely for ensuring that there's no insecurity in the area.
For bandits.
Insecurity is actually lessened by that battalion, but its main concern was it was actually more to do with, they were actually known as grazing guards. Actually, they were known as grazing guards. And he told me that after we gained independence, this battalion was changed to doing something else different. The present AP, the administration, actually is the one which was concerned for issues to do with grazing during that time. And he told me that that really assisted a lot in bringing insecurity down. Mr. Honorable Speaker, we are seeing the government today to try to be a bit serious. But I don't know whether they are going to be serious this time, because even Honorable Julo said that even the promises which were promised by the minister the other day have not been implemented up to now. So we actually don't see whether maybe we'll have to learn about that in a few days to come, and especially after the president actually showed some seriousness after the incidents took place in Turkana. And maybe we thought something now could be maybe in the offing. They tried to map some hot spots, and they had left most of the parts of Samburu, like the LOROT plateau. They only included it the other day because they said we are also including these other hot spots after they already concluded the hot spots. And I thought also they would have maybe included these hot spots also for Isiolo, especially for places like Escort. Escort needs actually a police station to be built there. Escort and some other areas like Okom also. We need a very big police station. I think there's already just a GSU camp there. Also some a place also in Banali, in Modogashe, needs also to have a police post or a police station. Also, this place of ours, the dangerous place here known as Mlango. I think Mlango is one of the places we should have actually a very big police post. The structures are there for the police. They posted the other time 6 police officers only. And after some time, the police decided to run away. And they came back to this town. So maybe ours is again to, the seriousness actually is not there. Because if they were serious, the first place they would have taken most of the police officers is that Mlango area. Actually within Central. That's a very dangerous place. And the structures are all already there for the police. I don't know I don't know why they are not actually posting the police officers there. And so many other places in the whole county, in like places like Orbesa, we also need a very big police station. Kampisamaki and Eldera and Rapsu. We need police posts actually to be established in those areas. Honorable Speaker, I think if our government was serious, and the first thing they would have done is actually to ensure that NPR have been given guns, at least 10 per 100, at least 100 per area, 100 per area, like 100 maybe for Kina, 100 for Garbatula, 100 for Modogashe, 100 for Merti, 100 for Kom, 100 for Burat, 100 for Lunyuro. These are local people who can actually fight, even to fight with bandits. And I'm sure if that is done, a lot will be done as far as security concerned. The issues of security is actually concerned. So my suggestion is that if police posts actually are constructed around those places, around Escort, Mulango, Basa areas, around Lororo, Longopito, around Rapsu, Barbatula, Kina, Oldonyuro, and also like in Oldonyuro, the conservancies are there, soldiers are there, but soldiers have no guns. That's very strange, because if soldiers are there and they have no guns, it's very strange. So maybe ours is to talk to this NRT and ensure that guns are given to even the conservancy soldiers. How can you be a soldier there with the uniform and you don't have a gun? You have nothing, totally. Yeah? Because they have seen it actually to assist in terms of when there is some security. Because they are locals, most of them are locals. These NRT soldiers are actually locals and can assist more than these other soldiers whom we found to be cowardice. They are cowards. Actually, we found them to be cowards. Maybe they are actually afraid of losing their lives because these bandits have decided actually to kill them now, like what happened in Turkana the other day. They killed 4 of them. They burned 3 vehicles and all those sort of things. Especially, it's an issue, very big issue in Oldonyuro, because what we found the other day when we visited there is that the transferred officers, imagine the transferred officers to Oldonyuro police station are all drunkards and lack discipline and almost retiring, old age. Most of them, 80% of soldiers who are in the Oldonyuro police station, drunkards, those guys who have actually, these are, they're already, these are who totally lack discipline, and the age is they're almost going on retirement. So they have decided to transfer all of them to Oldonyuro. That is so serious. Actually, what we are fighting for, the security issues arising in this county, is mostly on resources, like water and pasture. The other big thing is on land issue, especially around Kina, Garbatula, Basa. The big issue is on land. There's also this other one around in Isiolo town here, where we have the Somalis and the Merians fighting of our boundary. This is also it's an issue to do with pastoralists versus livestock herders versus farmers, and this has also brought a lot of issues, and they all need to be addressed. My solution to this, I only have 2. One is education to our all. I can suggest all school age children to actually attend school in the whole county, because most of the bandits actually, some of them even come from this county, others come from the neighboring counties. And when we put a lot of effort on educating our children, it's a long term. It's a long term solution. That one is a long term solution to actually to ensure that all the school aged children actually attend school. My second solution is the issue to do with the NPR. To ensure that NPRs are actually recruited, as I said earlier, I was suggesting about 100. That's the list. I could suggest the list to be about 100 per small area, like even per ward, 100 NPRs per area, and they are given guns and and also trained. Mostly, what happens is that they are given guns and nobody bothers about their training. How can you be given a gun and you don't know how to use it? It's serious. So this time, I'm suggesting that they are given guns and training. Otherwise, thank you, the Honorable Speaker. That's my contribution. Thank you.
Honorable Speaker, I stand on the standing order, point of order standing order 36(1)(2)(a). The House has no 36(2)(a). The House has no quorum, and the motion will not be continued.
So you are standing on standing orders number 6A.
Yeah, 36.
Okay. And as a reads, if at any time after the chair is taken, or when the assembly is in committee, a member objects that there is not a quorum present, the speaker or the chairperson order court counts on the assembly or the committee has decided. So the assembly will now count the members. If it does not make the quorum, then we adjourn. So do the necessary, just count them. In the quorum of 6.
Yes, enough.
Have you counted?
Yes.
How many are there?
8.
Do they make the quorum?
Yes.
So
They are outside.
the raised member just say whether they make a quorum or not. We don't care where they come from.
Okay. They can continue. We have now. They can continue now. We have a good number of quorum.
So you are revoking.
Yeah, I'm revoking the statement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I raise to support the motion and appreciate the mover for the motion. It is usually very it's what's ongoing, and it's something that we need to deliberate on. This motion has been mentioned severally since our inception into the house, in this house, into the as an assembly, and the insecurity issues continue. Every now and then, having number of clashes that result to loss of lives and the loss of property for our people. And these insecurity issues are also nationally. It is all over, not only in Isiolo County, but ours is unique in a way that ours is all year round. Others are occasional, but in our case, these are the order of the day, the insecurity. And we appreciate the government for, especially the internal security minister, courtesy of our governor, was able to visit our areas twice in this period, and several measures put in place to curb the insecurity situation in our areas. We appreciate some are taking course, although not very efficient. The mention of the firearms for the NPR is one of the success story. If it is implemented, that we are going to see, because the insecurity, the internal security promised us an increase in number of NPR in the area, which is one of the major solutions internally into our problem, because insecurity cannot be 100% solved from outside. Because of our lifestyle, which is pastoralism, and even the kind of clashes are also related to the same kind of people who are practicing the same lifestyle, seem, unless you are always ready when you are in your respective rangeland for grazing, then somebody from outside cannot really help you, because when you are overpowered, people, the perpetrators will take away your property. But now, if we have NPR and people hands-on, those who are within the rangeland grazing their own livestock after the NPR, the firearms, then at least they will struggle. The moment they struggle, at least when we have the backups, can easily support. So one of the NPR boost for us can make a lot of impact on insecurity in our area. That is what we almost 100% guarantee, that with the more number of NPRs in those clash areas that are that are usually prone to those clashes, like the Cherab ward is one of the most affected, my ward, most affected with insecurity right now, and it's the one which is much affected by the drought. Not because maybe it's the drought got our people before others, but it's the kind of the clashes and the kind of battle and the kind of fear that people have, which has drawn them away from the rangeland, has caused the weakening of the livestock faster than any. And among all the wards in the Isiolo County, we are the most affected by the drought, because we started the problem earlier, because our rangelands has been insecure for a long time. People running away from grazing land, where we usually reserve for during such a dry season, having a grazing system which usually favor the kind of lifestyle that we live. We graze around home during wet season, and we graze away from home during dry season. But this cycle of our grazing has been affected throughout, such that our people run away from rangeland and they don't graze. So our animals became weak earlier than expected because of the drought. So we almost lost our livestock. Some in bandits raided away, and most of the families in Dogogicha, Matasaden, Basa, most of them lost their livestock because of raid, and the others are now losing because of the early impact of the insecurity, whereby they were not able to graze in the rangeland. So our animals, they brought closer to the riverine, which has no pasture. So that one gave opportunity whereby most of our livestock become weaker. This, I think, with the intervention, if it happens, although my fear is that some of these security units which are planned to be placed in the buffer zone may not much solve most of our problems, because mostly they are those traditionally, the culture of corruption and the culture of favorism with the number, because the politics goes with the number. And we in Isiolo County, we have as pastoral community and community who are not settled, usually, especially, we are affected by lesser number. We don't stand maybe to be directly supported by government, because government, of the day, they will think of the politics of tomorrow. So when the people with the number, like our neighboring Mero community, who are millions, they claim our land, injustice with injustice, claiming our boundary, changing the map, the original or the traditional boundary, and grabbing some of our land, as already said by majority leader in the meeting where all the security officers were. They directly talk how they are grabbing our land, and no one is protecting, or no one is now there commenting. So meaning that similar thing can happen even when those units are placed. Who knows? Because they are the godfathers, big people at the government who can protect them. I'm sorry to say, but that is our fear, even with the security units at the buffer zone, which are anticipated to be placed in to protect our people, may turn up to be even a disadvantage to us. But all in all, we are yet to see. Let them be placed, and when there is such happen, definitely we won't just keep quiet. We'll whistle if we are heard, or will be heard by the Kenyan government, or even the international community. So, one is that, and secondly, this county in the blueprint of government is aimed to be the economic hub for the country, being at the center. And with such insecurity, always clashes within the major town, like Isiolo Central, the Burat and the rest. Are we going to see the success of being one of these fine days to be the economical hub for the country if this continues? Is now the homework for the government to see how they are going to tackle the insecurity issues around Isiolo County and also in the periphery, because what boosts the economy, one of it being the abattoir, must depend on livestock. There's a need for enough livestock, enough to be able to be slaughtered and sent for commercial purposes. When there are this insecurity and raids, with this kind of unrest, are we going to achieve? That is one of the main factors that the national government has to consider to bring to an end this kind of the lifestyle, the insecurity, which is at our doorstep every now and then. One of it, because currently the major flagship project are targeting Isiolo County, the lab set, the abattoir, the airport, all the tourism, because we have the 3 game reserves in Isiolo County. Right now, our game reserve is at the verge of collapse because of the insecurity. Every community now, wanting to graze inside the park with, by force, and our security being not strong enough to be able to curb the kind of rifles that they have. So all this, with the expanding population also, the day by day, the Isiolo County with influxes of people interested in these investments, which are targeting Isiolo County, the anticipated big flagship projects coming. Most of the people, the eyes are on Isiolo County, meaning that the influxes of the people are to this. Most of the people are targeting Isiolo, and this really will cause the population to raise, and with the population raise, people want space to occupy, meaning that now soon the parks will be encroached. Even it is encroached, not will be, because right now it is encroached. The parks were encroached, meaning that soon where will we push? Because the park will be pushed towards the river, meaning that soon, if we are not careful enough, even we are going to lose the opportunity to be having these reserves, which is really a big earner of revenue for us. Almost 70% of our revenue coming from our game reserves. So to me, I think we are risking as a nation, we are risking as a county, if we are siding or we are just closing our eyes from what is happening, this insecurity, which is almost which is collapsing all our activities and our normal livelihood. So to me, I suggest that I strongly recommend the government to take charge of the security, to take charge, because there is nothing which is impossible to the government. They are able to curb. I have no doubt about that. If only the attention needed is given and the seriousness which are required are put in place, and people, they were able to curb the insecurity in the Mount Elgon, which was very bad than ours. Why not this one? This one are just tribal clashes and the clashes for limited resources. It's not much. So I think there is nothing, I see there is nothing impossible. It is doable, and for the government, the national government and the county government to join hands to be able to eradicate this kind of, this backward lifestyle of, clashes and always, always in war situation whereby we have no room for development. We are always, even the devolution has not seen us, raise our economical life in our county because of these raids. Some people are miles back after at least struggling to be somewhere. Now some people have nothing to depend on after all their livelihood has been taken away from them. Several of my residents in my county, in my ward, now are poor, are impoverished because of the raids, and these are the kind of life that we are in. We are tired of it. We want the government to take charge. Yes, we see some steps. Our governor is always talking about security, and since he came, he was not resting. He has been going round. Can it be now real? Can something happen that we see tangible, that we can be proud of? That at least we have gone from this step to another, so that we are peaceful. Peaceful communities, the one which are able to run other livelihood businesses. But when you are not in peace, right now, most of the residents in my area, some areas are closed down because of the banditry, these attacks. The Amicha closed completely, Alango closed completely, Lafe on and off, Lakole closed, just recently returned back, which is not even, promising, because anytime another attack happened again, they will run away. So, and so many lives lost, so many livelihood taken away. So these are the kind of life that we are leading. We want the county government to also consider those who have been, depleted of their livelihood, to be considered, to be assisted, the restocking, and also other means of livelihood. Some are now. So we are asking the government to be able to come in, assist those who want to go to be resettled back to their areas, so that they are able to start other alternative livelihood or farming, doing small farming. Meanwhile, when they are starting, they need, an empty stomach cannot work. So there is a need at least to help them during the process that they are in. They are farming, they have started, they have initiated, but now they need some food, which the government need to come in and support. They need some food, they need the school back open, and their kids go to normalcy of going back to school, redeployment of the teachers and all other things which are in those displaced areas. There are some where boreholes are also been, affected, whereby they were destroyed by those bandits. Can we now restore again the same borehole? Like in Nalango, we know that it collapsed, and now we need another, which the county is also. I thank the Department of Water and His Excellency the Governor, but it is now almost, we are trying to drill another borehole, although it has not happened, and we expect it to happen anytime, and many other places, so which has been displaced, like Lakole and the rest. So really, that is the what we are.
Let's give our time.
Yeah, sorry. So don't get tired, because we talk problem of our people. So that is why we are here, I think. So summarizing, this is what I support the motion. I support the motion, and I encourage the government to take charge of the security. It is doable. Thank you.
Excuse me, let's just give the lady next to you. I respect that. You must understand what I'm doing. Thank you. Use the language that you are free to speak of the two languages. Don't mind about whatever you speak.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for giving this opportunity. I appreciate. It is true that insecurity in the county is on high alert due to the unemployment among the youths and a lack of inclusivity. So I raised to contribute to the motion and add some recommendation to the motion. My first recommendation is the leadership of the county government must promote inclusivity, governance, getting the best out of the development system by bringing all the communities together and ensuring equal representation in sharing political and economical power of executive and the county assembly level. The second, it is imperative the county government adheres to the ethics, minority and gender representational rules, comply with the various constitutional requirements, and ensure equality for all the county residents to curb the security in the county. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Amina, 2 minutes is enough for you.
Not really. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for the time. I stand to support the motion, as I congratulate the mover of the motion for the point he has raised. It is really genuine and real. Secondly, on security, I wanted to talk about livestock theft, the matters which really affecting our people as at now, and it is cross-cutting all words that means. The issue of livestock theft has become commercial nowadays, whereby animals are stolen and being sold to a specific people, a group of people from our community. They are from our side, the Boran side. They are kakuns or people who are engaged in that business, collaborating with other groups from Samburu.
Order member. Yes.
Oh, sorry.
All people live in Isiolo. We are Isiolans, so when I sell a cow for you, I'm just a seller and a buyer.
Yes,
yes.
A seller and a buyer are people from our place.
Good.
And and we are really condemning that. Why? As I stand, I am affected. Last weekend, my 6 camel was stolen and was bought by a certain group. And that business, it is in Chari Ward and by a station even. I'm saying it is cross-cutting, but I'm mentioning Chari Ward because my camels was stolen there. And the representative from that ward is here and he knows what is taking place. And I'm saying, the criminals are conspiring. They are conspiring with the local authority because none of those cases were never reported or none of those individuals have ever been caught. That is why I'm saying it is there is that conspiration between the criminals. I recommend this. The only way we can stop that mess or this mess is by jointly condemning the act by both political leaders and the local administrators. Secondly, we as leaders, we should sensitize to our local community to report any matters to the security agents. And if we are not reporting that incidents or the incidents of death, then we are part and parcel of that act. The other one, I've said, I concur with the leader of majority, the mover of the motion. The issue of insecurity is mostly brought by land issue, whereby the land boundary, it is not settled. The land registration, it is not taking place. And that issue has been discussed from the first, since the devolution, from the first government, second government, and this is the third government. The leaders are there. We are all, not that the leaders are not raising the concern. We are raising the concern, but we are not heard. Why? Does it mean that we are lesser citizens? Does our people lesser citizens? Is our people lesser citizens? Or the leaders are lesser leaders? We are asking the government to take the issue of our people to be given priority. The issue of insecurity to be solved. That is what I can comment for today. Thank you for the time, Mr. Speaker.
We should only give you time to appreciate the numbers, but not to contribute. Not to contribute, just appreciate the numbers.
Mr. Speaker, I actually appreciate the members of the House who have elaborately confirmed that there is really big concern about security. What we have actually got out here, Mr. Speaker, simply a constitution should be followed for provision of security to the citizens of this country. Mr. Speaker, the constitution recognizes the cultural mechanism to address the security at village levels. We have to respect and include, my colleague was talking of inclusivity. The Council of Elders, Mr. Speaker, to handle some of these insecurity issues at the grassroots level, in line with the culture of an African society, which we are. Mr. Speaker, the Constitution recognizes the cultural, our culture, and actually we have to spend money to strengthen the cultural mechanism, the Council of Elders, to take part in the security issues. Mr. Speaker, what we have learned here also is that those security agencies are compromised or apply laws not equally. Like even there is an example in the court, some cases which have been in court on land issues. Mr. Speaker, in COM, you will find the district sub-county commissioner of Merti disregarding the kind of organization that the people of the area had. And he says, this Kenya belongs to everybody, so the land for mining should be grabbed by anybody. Mr. Speaker, without consulting the county, who is the custodian of the land. So such kind of interference also triggers insecurity and conflicts at the grassroots level. Mr. Speaker, the NGO does not have constitutionally a mandate for provision of or to address the security of the citizen. By law, it is a national government, Mr. Speaker, supplemented by the county government, which we have got a role. Now, Mr. Speaker, if from my experience, the NGO one time was supporting the Conflict Resolution Committee in Isiolo County. I was a member, Mr. Speaker, after I retired from military. What I came to realize is that the budget they have, they only release the money for use when there is conflict. What does it mean, Mr. Speaker? Money must be spent only when there is conflict, Mr. Speaker. Those are kind of factors, actually some of the factors, which brings interference with the security in the area, Mr. Speaker. So the youth who don't have employment must actually go and steal or kill somebody so that the security committee can now go into that area to intervene. So there's no provision mechanism, there's no prevention mechanism, which actually Council of Elders has, because every son and daughters belong to a clan. And when my son does a crime, there's accountability. But in this scenario, there's no accountability, Mr. Speaker. I request recommendation for the task force, first of all, to find out why there's insecurity. What causes this insecurity, Mr. Speaker? It has been long since this problem has been there. Mr. Speaker, these organized crimes need to be addressed professionally. So this task force can be able to bring out some recommendations, Mr. Speaker, to be implemented, both at county level and the national level. So, Mr. Speaker, we have to follow up really what the national government has been promising. The sub-county of Oldonyiro, all the administrative and security machinery must be put in place, first of all. And it has come out from the members that the land issue, which is a problem, must be registered for the community, Mr. Speaker, so that it can be planned for development. It has been left behind for a long time. So with these few remarks, Mr. Speaker, I thank the House, and I really urge, Mr. Speaker, the executive, in conjunction with us, the leaders, to follow up whatever this House has recommended for implementation in minimum time, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
So now, members, approaching the deliberation from Ashua. So we put a question that are aware that Article 26 of the Constitution of Kenya declares that every person has the right to live. Further aware that the Article 40 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010 declares that every person has the right to property, either individually or in relation with others. Noting that insecurity and inter-community clashes, some part of our county, has led to loss of lives, property, and made the residents flee their homes. Concerned that those institutions responsible to deal with these persistent skirmishes are dragging its feet in ending insecurity in the area. Organizing that the enhancement of the security and the protection of private and public property are among the guiding principles towards a developed county. This House urges the county government leadership in liaison with the national government agencies responsible for security function to establish agents and appropriate measures in order to maintain peace in the affected region of the county. As many of the contravenants say aye. Aye. Contravenants say nay. Aye, sir. Next order, clerk.
No any other business, Mr. Speaker.
So members, this House remain adjourned until this evening, that is 2:30. Thank you.